Hey, Nick.
Hey, Tys.
How are
Hey,
you,
buddy.
man? What's going on?
Not much.
You got your Dr. Pepper there?
I got my Dr. Pepper. It's been a busy day.
Busy day?
Yeah, it's a bit jumpy.
I get you, man.
Yeah.
I get you. I feel it.
How's your day, Tys?
Oh, you know. Whatevs.
Whatevs.
I'm excited to be talking about
here.
movies.
We're back here. Yep.
What episode is
That's
that?
a bit. 29.
Episode number 29.
29
of
people.
Nick, Tys and Videotape.
Do you realise 29 episodes? Is that a bit weird?
While at the same time it seems like a low number, it also seems like a high number.
Yes, that's true. Yeah, that's very true.
So it's really interesting. Well, like, man, we're on our way.
Sure.
Episode 50. What are we going to do? It's going to have to be a big one.
It's going to have to be big.
We're closer to 50 than we are to 0, so we've got to start thinking about it.
What do our audience think we should do as big?
Actually,
What do they
let's
think?
put it out there?
Yeah.
Well, speaking of putting it out there, Nick,
hi everyone.
Where can you find us?
Well, we're Nick, Tys and Videotape.
No, I did that bit.
Oh, you did that bit? Oh, I didn't hear
Everyone knows.
Oh, sorry.
I got it out there.
You got
I got the word
there?
out.
You got it out there? Oh,
where can
enough.
people find us, buddy?
Oh, well, ladies and gentlemen, if you're bored of listening to the radio and you're sick of hearing facts on other podcasts, is that what other podcasts are? Just a lot of facts?
What?
I don't know. You can find us wherever good podcasts are sold.
What podcast do you listen to?
I don't know. I listen to a lot of crime podcasts and I get kind of sick of them.
Sure,
and then
sure.
I'm like,
I was like someone
for
just
fuck's sake,
reading
I just
the
want someone
encyclopedia
No, it's not
out
like
loud.
that. It's just this happened and this happened and it's very
I get
it's
you.
very serious.
There's very little that we say that is factual, so this is probably...
Bullshit. We say a lot of facts. No, that's not true. But yes, you can find us Stitcher, Intune Radio, TuneIn Radio, sorry.
That's the one.
That's the one. And iTunes is the major one, people,
Yeah,
because you can rate, review,
all over the
and
place.
like us.
Share us. Share, like, rate, review, all that stuff.
All the stuff.
A bunch of stars and some pretty little reviews would be amazing. We're pretty much everywhere you can find podcasts now.
Exactly.
I've done a recent check of that.
Oh, you did a recent check, yeah?
And I even got us on a few more kind of places that we might not have been on before. So I'm pretty sure we're set.
But as far as the social goes, we're on the Facebook and the Twitter.
The Facebook.
Well, that's what it was called back in the day. Not Facebook, the Facebook.
That's true.
Lose the.
Good thinking.
And email us, people. If you want to chuck us an email, if you want to write to us and say, hey, Nick, what is it that Tyson drinks every episode? What do you drink? Well, everyone knows I drink Dr. Pepper, but yeah, what does Tyson drink?
You just have to email and ask. I'm not gonna
You're not gonna
divulge that information just yet.
Good one. Do we eat?
We've never eaten.
You don't know. They don't know that.
I've ruined it.
You ruined it. Well, there goes the twist. But yes, Nick and Tys at gmail.com. Write us in.
Almost. Nick, Tys and Videotape at gmail.com. Yeah, the name of the show.
It's been a busy week.
It's a long day. I understand. I'm feeling
week. It's been a busy week to the point where
like
I haven't watched a lot this week.
Oh, actually me either. So it's going to be an interesting conversation.
Well, it is, yeah. I've watched something, but...
Oh, yeah, me too.
Yeah. But before that...
Let's get to talking trailers.
Trailers, people.
Everybody's talking trailers. All right. So...
Sorry. Yeah, go.
Nick, can you go first? Because
I can totally go first.
I've got one like in the can in case we happen to talk about the same one.
Sure. Well, I was going to talk about Mr. Darren Aronofsky.
Cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was I'll talk about the one that's in the can.
Okay, cool.
Now is the second one.
So yeah, so Mother finally came out because a teaser came out, which was literally just a montage of scenes. Which was
it was
the
a really
worst
kind of quick cut kind of thing, and it had that weird graphic at the end of. Well, actually, the first thing I remember seeing was the really bonkers poster.
Yeah.
Which
the illustrated, which is amazing.
Drawn as like the what's that famous
is it
poster?
A Hail Mary?
Famous.
Is it a?
It is, but it's a specific name for it. It's the Mary. It's the Amy. It's the Amy. It's the Mary image that we all kind of.
Yeah,
but I feel like it's got a specific name. The one
it does.
The one where she's kind of got her hands out and
she's got a halo kind of happening. Anyway.
Yeah, the image of her doing that, but she was like holding a bloody beating heart in her hand. And I was like, "Fucking hell, that looks intense." Yeah,
but we had the quick. It was a teaser. It wasn't really. It was just a couple of scenes shoved together with some weird violin. In it.
Yeah, and look, that's what they all become now. Those teasers for trailers, where it's just basically here's some imagery,
here's some stuff,
full trailer coming next week.
Exactly, yeah. So we had the full on.
We had the trailer,
yeah. Which I feel. I don't know. I when I watched it, because is Aronofsky one of those directors for you, Tys? Because he is for me. He's another one that I anticipate the next movie.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You got the Wheaton, you've got the Nolan. Spielberg's kind of dropped to the wayside.
Yeah,
it's the Coens. It's you know,
I'd
what
say
are
he's
these directors
up around
doing
that
next?
kind of level for me.
So
sure.
Aronofsky's definitely up there for me, and
even though that's surprising because I can't say that I have 100% like no questions loved any of his films yet.
Really?
Even though like
Really?
I think he's fucking amazing at what he does.
Yeah.
I'm still waiting for that one that I just get behind 100%.
You don't think he's already maybe done that?
Not for me.
Not for you.
Yet.
Right. Okay.
But I can't, he makes fucking great movies.
Yeah.
But I'm still waiting for that one that is for me.
Sublime, yeah. But the trailer is Jennifer Lawrence as a mother who sets up a home. And actually, no, she's not a mother. There are no kids.
No, I couldn't tell you really what's going on.
And that's the thing. This is
it's
hard.
That's great.
Yeah.
And I actually think I'm going to keep away from any kind of synopsis and stuff.
Yeah, fair deal.
Because I liked the vibe of the trailer.
Yeah.
It made me feel kind of uneasy.
Yep.
It put me on edge
bit
quite a lot.
Ambiguous, a bit. You don't really know
it was
what's
very
going
ambiguous
on.
what was happening.
Yeah.
And I think I'm going to leave it at that.
You're going to leave it at that?
I might
Good.
watch another trailer,
totally,
but
yeah.
I'm not going to
I'm
not going to Google a plot synopsis, or I'm not going to kind of get the
Well, do you
the
want me
press
to tell
release.
you a little? No, you don't want me to?
No, go for it, because I feel like it's going to be deliberately pretty vague anyway.
Yeah, it is going to be vague.
Yeah.
It's a couple's relationship is tested when uninvited guests arrive in their home.
And
now I'm going to leave
fine.
it at that.
I got that from the
you know
trailer.
what I mean? You got that
fine.
from the trailer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It does have a little bit. Have you seen Crimson Peak?
I haven't actually.
Yeah,
yet.
it had a little bit of that vibe. Crimson Peak was
I'm
quite
hanging.
good.
I really want to see it, but it's one of those ones that I'm like, as soon as it pops up on any of these things, I'm straight away going to be watching it. But it's surprising me that it hasn't actually popped up on Netflix or Stan or anything yet. I'm like, this movie's begging to be seen.
Yeah, by the masses,
by the people
those
that
people
would just go and go, oh yeah,
give it a watch.
Horror movie with Tom Hiddleston, ghost story. I'll give it a crack.
Exactly.
And then
blows up
Guglielmo, and it's like, holy shit,
come on,
he knows what he's doing.
Exactly, So it had a little bit of that vibe, and it had a little bit of a Rosemary's Baby type vibe.
So that's the best kind of perception that I could create out of it. My best guess at what this would be about was them a Rosemary's Baby kind of thing.
Yeah, them kind of...
because it also kind of ties in with the title. You think, okay, so... We've got some shifty people, maybe some kind of devil worship. Maybe Jennifer Lawrence has been set up to be like the mother of the Antichrist.
Exactly. Yeah.
Something along those lines.
Yeah. So I got a little bit of that vibe. And to be honest, I'm all in. I'm in with anything that Aronofsky does, really.
Well, and what he does incredibly well is like make you feel uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah.
He does that very, very well. And so while watching this, I knew... What was going to be. It's going to be one of those, it's going to be very off-putting. It's going to be very unsettling.
Yeah.
And, he does that fucking well.
He does that really well. Yeah. I need to watch The Fountain, and I need to watch... I've seen them. I own The Fountain.
Fountain might be the closest to... Fountain... I really love Fountain.
You really love it, yeah.
Yeah, but
people love Fountain.
Just because it's so fucking... The ambition in that movie is out of
huge,
control.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of that element to it just really got me over the line. Like, don't get me wrong, I think Requiem for a Dream is an amazing movie,
absolutely.
but I'll only ever watch it maybe twice in my lifetime.
Yeah, it's a hard watch.
Yeah, because it's kind of like it's great and you can appreciate lots of it, but there's no reason to continuously put yourself through that. So it's kind of like you watch it every now and then, and I mean very, very much now and then.
Yeah. Unless you've got 2 hours to kill and a friend of yours comes over and he goes, I've never seen Requiem for a Dream.
Yeah, but then it's kind of like...
No, you don't want to experience them watching it for the first time.
I don't know. It depends what were you going to do afterwards. That's important.
Good point. Have a discussion.
Because if it was like one of those things where it's like, oh, hey, we're going to a house party, but we got 2 hours to kill. Oh, man, I've never seen Requiem for a Dream.
No, you don't do that. You don't do that.
No, we're not doing that right now.
No, if anything, you put on some NBA Jam and you play that for 2 hours.
If it's like 10:30 and...
Fuck, no.
I don't know.
No.
When is a good time to watch
It's the thing, but that's the thing. With these movies, with Darren Aronofsky movies, you can't... Everyone goes, well, I'm not really in the mood. You are never going to be in the mood, okay? Pop it on, have a watch. It'll change your life.
For some of them, there's a mood.
Yeah.
Fountain, obviously, if you're in a ponderous kind of... You want to kind of question reality and have a good old think about the meaning of it all.
Exactly.
Fountain is a great example for that. If you want a fucking biblical fantasy...
Sure.
Chuck on Noah. Why not?
You liked Noah, didn't you, Tys?
I did like Noah a lot.
I think you're the only one.
The moment those rock monsters showed up, I'm just like, I'm in all the way, baby. This is fucking awesome.
Yeah, I'm not very biblical, but that didn't do anything for me.
I think that's kind of partly.
I think it's the point. Yeah,
because it was just like, man, he's just fucking shoving it up.
He is. He is pissing off a lot of people right now. Yeah,
loved it.
My favorite is The Wrestler because I've watched WWE for years,
and I think The Wrestler's probably his most accessible film.
Yeah,
because there's really like it's just a really lovely, well told, sad story.
Yeah,
with an excellent central performance, like really, really great. And I think that makes it quite an easy kind of, not an easy view, but an easy way in to Aronofsky.
Yeah.
I think you start with Requiem for a Dream. It's kind of, which most of us did because it was the first one, but that's hard work, man. And
that is, yeah.
You kind of think, oh, maybe I don't want to watch too many movies of this guy.
But then,
something like Black Swan as
Black
well,
Swan
where
comes
it's kind of like, holy shit, this is fucking
It's
intense.
cool, but you're kind of very disturbed at the same time. You're a little bit, what the fuck is going on?
So I think wrestling might be the best way to start with Aronofsky.
That's true. Especially if you're not a wrestling fan, it'll open that door for you quite easy. Yeah. Rather than it'll just be a sad story.
Well,
to me, it was on another level.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
I found it like, I only have a kind of passing. I used to like WWF stuff when I was a kid, but I really haven't thought much about it since I was 12 years old or so.
Fair enough.
But I still, I think it still resonated incredibly strongly with me, regardless of that. So I wouldn't imagine you would have to go in with any kind of wrestling knowledge to really appreciate it.
Absolutely
like you're saying, I think maybe it just elevates it a little bit for certain people.
Fans, yeah,
for sure.
So Mother.
Well, there you go. Yeah.
Bring it on.
Give that trailer a watch, people, because it's I'd love to know what you thought of it.
Yeah.
Why don't you chuck something on our Facebook? We might share that one. I know we don't share the trailers often, but it's just because it is very interesting trailer, and I'd love to hear some opinions on it.
I think I would like to start with the feature presentation. Maybe share the trailer of the feature presentation.
Look, it's a good idea. And get people kind of geared up for it.
Because people are like, I haven't seen that. What the fuck are they talking about this week?
Yeah. Good idea, Nicholas.
There you go.
Well, seeing as that was one I was going to briefly mention as well, I'm going to mention something else, which we did just have a very brief discussion about when you came into my house.
Sure.
But just a couple of days ago, they released the Death Wish remake trailer. Bruce Willis.
Quick question.
Yeah.
Isn't Death Wish a Van Damme movie? Is it
Death Warrant?
Right.
Is the Van Damme one?
Okay. Because I was like, haven't they done this?
And then Marked for Death is the Seagal one.
Right. And now Bruce Willis has the Death Wish one.
Yeah. So Death Wish, the remake of the Charles Bronson series.
Right. Oh, I didn't know that.
So that's an kind of classic 80s action series that
the first one cover.
The first one
was it 80s?
No,
it was 70. No,
maybe the first one was 70s,
74,
but led into it.
Definitely 80s.
The sequels, because the first one is actually taken quite seriously and is based on a book, and then Canon Pictures took up the mantle and made these sequels and basically turned him into a superhero cop kind of style. Yeah. Whereas the first one is
sort of a Dirty Harry.
But with rocket launchers and shit.
Right.
So it kind of, it went a bit ridiculous.
Right.
Whereas obviously the first one was taken quite seriously and was a kind of, more of an examination of, what happens to somebody when they lose
to the limits.
Yeah, when push to the limit. They messed with the wrong guy. That kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we've got a remake of that coming now. Eli Roth directing, who I suppose depends who you talk to, is either a genius or a fucking idiot. So
I'm kind of on the fence there.
I'm a bit on the fence as well because to be honest, I haven't seen a movie of his that I like. So
he hasn't done a movie in a while, has he?
Not for a little while, no.
No.
And
Knock Knock 2015, whatever the fuck.
Which actually I did want to see that. That's Keanu Reeves doing a weird. It's like a home invasion thriller.
Oh fuck! I first saw the trailer for that. Look awful.
But I'm interested because it's Keanu. Anything with, and I feel like when Keanu
get a good actor, bang, you've got an audience.
Suddenly, it turns me around.
It works.
So I'm not the hugest Eli Roth fan.
Sure.
I don't like. I like what he stands for, though. I like that he is unashamed in his love of horror movies, and he just straight up is just like, do you know what? I make fucking big old violent horror movies, and I dig that. Like, I love that he just kind of
sticks to his guns and knows what he wants to do,
and he doesn't give a fuck about like he doesn't try to, he's not trying to justify what he does to elitists in fucking air quotes. Like he wants to make really great horror movies, and good on him for that.
I will give him. I think I'm the only person who likes Cabin Fever. My wife hates it.
I'm fine with Cabin Fever. I think it's enjoyable, and I actually kind of find it funnier than scary. I think the comedy elements of it are some of its stronger parts. But overall, it's like, it's fine.
Yeah,
it's fine. It
exactly.
Just, I think it was a good enough, because that was his first film, I think.
So, yeah.
I think that was one of those kind of movies where I'm like, wow, what a great debut film. I can't wait to see what this guy does next.
Yeah. And then he got chowed down with...
I think, was the first Hostel his next film?
Yeah. Which is...
I don't enjoy it in the slightest, so...
I did, because of what at the time... everything evolves. So horror needed to evolve into something, and that's what it evolved.
Yeah, and I'm glad that passage is gone.
Absolutely, it was a passage that's gone.
Era has passed, because it honestly does nothing for me.
Yeah, it wasn't scary. It was gore.
No, exactly, and it removed. I mean, obviously, I don't want to give the wrong impression. I'm not saying that it had an effect on me where I felt really uneasy and was like, oh, this is not for me.
No,
it's not for me in the fact that I don't see artistic merit in it. Like, I can watch it and I have no reaction. Like, I'm not sitting there like, I've never seen anything like this. It's so intense. I actually just don't care.
Yeah,
it's kind of like,
it doesn't tickle you. No, that's fine.
You're doing nothing for me. Yeah. Absolutely nothing for me.
Totally understand. I think that's a few people are like that.
Yeah. So now we've got a Death Wish remake. Bruce Willis, who has also kind of been treading water for a little while.
He has, hasn't he?
So I'm interested in that.
Of a bit
this trailer,
straight to video.
Yeah, big time straight to video.
Yeah.
This trailer I'm not on board for.
No.
I don't like the tone of it.
No.
It rubs me the wrong way.
Oh, okay.
Like, it starts off like it's going like they're setting up the story quite the standard kind of we've got a guy, vigilante hitting the streets, killing crims.
Yep.
Is he,
drug dealers and all
what's
that
he doing? Like, we should be leaving it for the cops and all that kind of stuff. But then Back in Black kicks in.
Yeah. That's
and
right.
I feel like I'm watching a romantic comedy. Like,
oh, wow, really?
Or like a kind of, not a spoof.
Like a buddy cop movie.
Like a buddy cop movie.
Yeah.
And there's a scene where he's talking to a kid in a hospital bed.
Yeah.
While we've got the and he says something kind of slightly witty.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this tone doesn't work. This is
who's directing this trailer?
What are you trying to set up? Is this going to be like? And there's the bit at the end where it's like the shrink is like, oh, you look really healthy. What have you been doing? And all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, wait,
whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
Wait a second. What are we? That's kind of because I don't know if you remember, there was a movie from 2006 or 7 called Death Sentence, and it was a James Wan movie, one of his earliest movies after Saw.
Yeah,
and it's got Kevin Bacon in it, and it's actually based off one of the Death Wish books. It's called Death Sentence.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah,
and it's a story about a guy. It's essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
His son, I think, gets murdered, and he goes on a vigilante quest to
right the wrongs.
Yeah, basically take revenge on these people that killed his son.
Sure.
And it's not a fantastic movie. I find it pretty watchable though. Mostly because Kevin Bacon does a really excellent performance, and the villains are really great. Played, but one of the main villains is Garrett Hedlund, who I really like from like Tron Legacy.
Oh yeah,
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway, so it spends a lot of the movie dealing with what happens to you when you become this person.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So it's not just like, he's not going guns blazing like fucking Van Damme style. It actually has like a moral consequence to this stuff. And
in Death Sentence.
Yeah. And it shows you like just how the toll that it's taking on Kevin Bacon by doing this stuff.
Yeah.
And that to me is kind of the point of these movies. It's your straw dogs. It's that kind of thing where you can't, it's Last House on the Left even.
It's Equalizer.
It can't just be this big kind of like, oh well, I'm going to fuck you up now, and then it's machine guns and it's Back in Black in the soundtrack, because that's
not what it's about.
It's not what it's about. No. It should be about
you got a moral code in there.
Yeah. How can these, like, what are the lengths these people will go to avenge this wrong, and how will it fuck them up?
Yeah.
It doesn't feel like this movie's dealing with that at all. It feels like this movie's like, hey man, you got a problem with that guy who robbed your purse?
I'll deal with him.
Don't worry about this. Double barrel shotgun. I'm putting that fucker in the ground
Boom!
While AC/DC's playing in the background. And so I've got a real this trailer really rubbed me the wrong way.
Okay. Yeah. I totally feel you now. Yeah, fair deal. Well, I didn't know that it was a remake.
Sure.
So that totally makes sense.
Would you have felt, if without knowing what like the material is based on, would the vibe that this trailer gives off?
It gave off a comedy version of, like I said when I came in, it's a comedy version of The Punisher.
Yeah.
The Punisher is essentially what you've been talking about.
And this is the thing, because Frank Castle is a very troubled character. And he doesn't have a problem with ending criminals' life. If you're a criminal, you don't deserve to live. Yeah. And that's the kind of... Everyone else around him is sort of, no, we're not... It's not how things work. Sure.
You can't do that.
Yeah.
And it was watching this trailer. It was a comedy version of The Punisher.
Maybe I need to look a bit deeper. Maybe this is the intention, that Eli Roth is making a black comedy version of this.
Maybe.
And it's going to kind of subvert expectations.
Sure.
Maybe. If not, this trailer has set an incredibly insensitive tone.
Yes, that's true.
I think is the word I'm going to use.
But Bruce Willis, Vincent, how do you say it?
D'Onofrio. D'Onofrio.
And Elizabeth Shue out of nowhere.
Yeah, and Elizabeth Shue. I feel bad for Elizabeth Shue, man, because she, no spoilers, it's in the trailer.
Oh, snappage. She's
the wife that gets killed.
Right.
So this is those things that amaze me. Elizabeth Shue, right?
Yep.
Fucking Academy Award nominated Elizabeth Shue, in order to get a gig these days, has to play the wife that gets shot in the first 15 minutes of a movie and turns up in photos from then on. Elizabeth fucking Shue. Yeah. Back to the Future's Elizabeth Shue.
Cocktail, Elizabeth Shue. Karate Kids,
Elizabeth Shue.
Come on.
It really... I hate how...
What was the nomination for?
Leaving Las Vegas.
Oh, yes, obviously. Yeah.
I want to say she was nominated. She had to have been. She was fucking stunning in that movie.
She was great.
She basically made Nick Cage
palpable.
That performance work was basically because of what she did.
Yeah, totally.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'm not gonna watch this.
I'm gonna wait for reviews and stuff.
For streaming. Sure, I'll watch it on streaming.
But this is the thing. Someone could say, do you know what? It's a really effective thriller. Blah 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 blah. And I'm like, great, okay, cool. So that trailer maybe was just someone who maybe didn't understand the
didn't
tone
know what
that they were trying
Eli
to
was
set.
going for.
Yeah.
Sure.
So, and of course, and I'll always give it a chance if the reviews come back as being great. But at the moment, that trailer was a fucking shambles.
Yeah, fair deal.
Anyway, let's move on, shall we? Hey, Nick, what did you watch this week?
Oh, this week's been pretty slim, Tys.
Slim Pickens?
Slim Pickens, but I am...
Is that a country music singer?
Is it Slim Pickens?
Slim Pickens? I feel like
Slim Dusty.
I feel like if there's not a country singer called Slim Pickens, there needs to be one.
There's a million songs called Slim Pickens. I've been chewing through my cousin's boyfriend. Gave me because I've been wanting to do The West Wing. I think I've spoken about this before.
Great. Are you watching The West Wing?
I'm watching The West Wing.
Holy
I'm
shit.
midway through season 2. Yeah. Fucking amazing show. Yeah. Seriously. Okay. And the only reason you're watching it is because of the writing. You're watching it because it's Aaron Sorkin.
I watch it for every possible reason. No, but performances are amazing. The direction is so good.
This is why you're going in, but you...
It's why you get in. Yeah,
exactly.
You get in because it's a Sorkin show.
Because it's a Sorkin show. But... it's so
by far
good.
and away the best. I know we're in a golden age of television at the moment, but there has not been a show that tops it for me. I find it really hard to think of one that will.
So can I compare then? Sure. Can I compare? Have you seen The Newsroom?
Oh, I find it miles better than Newsroom.
Miles
better. I thought Newsroom was good.
Yep.
And
West Wing,
but West Wing, knocked it out.
Yeah,
of the park.
And I think the reason why I wrote it down because watching it now. Because it's the writing is just Sorkin's writing is so engaging with a lot of people. A lot of people love him. The dialogue, Sorkin's dialogue is what we want. It's people kind of talking over each other. It's not really lagging in any points or anything like that.
No, but it feels very lively and realistic. But at the same time, it's people talking with far more direction than any human conversation ever has.
Exactly.
It's so beautifully directed, and I don't mean directed as in like a director is telling it where to go. I mean that it has a journey and it reaches its destination in the most efficient way possible.
Yeah, and
that's what I love about it. There is no flab on any of his dialogue.
So you can really, what I've found that he's taking basically certain topics. Like capital punishment, homophobia, racism, all of this stuff, and using politics to discuss it. Yep. He'll take a full episode and just talk about capital punishment and where people lie and what people sit with.
Yeah, well, it's a genius idea because it is the only business, I guess, where these kind of moral issues are actually up for debate in a area where they could enforce change.
Exactly. Yeah,
so it does actually
such
make
a great idea. But yeah. And what I love that you get, how we were talking about just before, is how people talk dialogue-wise, kind of jumping over each other and things like that. Not only that, he'll have the opposite and have a nice, meaty monologue with any character, and they'll just have this beautiful scene where sometimes in the end you've been in tears. I've been in tears already two or three episodes.
You're lowballing it for me.
Lowballing it.
It would usually be almost every episode.
Yeah.
There would be some kind of...
Just amazing.
Especially on a rewatch, because I've watched it so many times now, but getting to a point where you are so in love with these characters and then going back and just seeing how they react to earlier things.
Yeah.
It just... Because you have all this baggage of years of knowing them.
Exactly.
It's so beautiful sometimes, some of those earlier stuff. I will say this, it probably never gets better than season 2.
Shit.
So this is pretty much season
1 is
season 1's good.
Sublime.
Season 1, look, they're all very good.
Yeah.
Season 2, I think, is remarkably good.
Yep.
And then 1, 3, and 4 are both fantastically good.
Yep.
5, 6, and 7 are great.
Oh, okay.
Do you know what I mean? But they just don't reach the heights.
They're just not reaching the heights for you. Yeah, fair
deal.
The
heights of season 2. Have you reached? So how many episodes in season 2 are you?
I'm at like 3.
3 episodes. Yeah. Okay. So you're in for something.
I'm in for something.
But you have just watched some of my favorite episodes, which is the while Josh is in the coma, not in the coma, but while he's being operated on.
Yeah, yeah.
And they do the flashbacks to how everyone
came together,
which is beautiful. One of my favorite all-time episodes.
So good. I love that plot device. How
I think we already talked
TV
about
shows
this.
do that. Yeah. What did we talk about?
We talked about it in reference to our favorite episode of Firefly.
Right.
Which is Out of Gas.
That's right. Out of Gas. But yeah, I love it when TV shows do that. But yeah, West Wing. I'm chewing through
Great,
this.
man. As much as we are a film podcast,
we do watch TV.
I would very much, as long as the listeners would be interested, I'd love to do a West Wing.
You'd love to do a West Wing episode?
Yeah. I would, potentially tackling a season at a time per episode. So we do an overall look at one of the seasons for our episode, for our feature presentation.
Okay, so we do 7 episodes.
Over the time we do.
Okay.
Yeah, so
shit.
Listeners, if you're keen on that, because
you're going to have to give me some time.
There are enough episode by episode West Wing podcasts out there.
Right.
Well, there's one with Joshua Molina, who is a character that comes in season 4.
Oh, okay.
So he actually hosts one.
Wow, that's huge.
Along with another guy, and it's called the West Wing Weekly. It's a good show. It covers it very detailed, and they have, because he's been on the show, they have the opportunity to get guests who have actually, like Richard Schiff.
That's intense. Bradley Whitmore.
Rob Lowe, Bradley Whitford's been on a couple of times. So they
Did I say Bradley Whitmore? Did I say Bradley Whitford?
I think I said it wrong.
Oh, okay, sorry.
Bradley Whitford.
Yeah. Huge.
So that's the only one you really need to listen to.
Yeah,
whereas we could do just an overall kind of chat about the season and what we liked,
whatever
we
you liked, Tys.
If the people are keen.
If the people are keen,
give them what they want.
If you want us to talk about West Wing, if you want us to talk about a TV series,
suggest a TV show. Why not, man?
Sure.
I need a new show to watch.
I'm deep in West Wing. Don't give me another show to watch.
No, you'll be set for a little while. It's 7 seasons. Although I knocked out those 7 seasons in fucking a few months.
No time.
So,
yeah, exactly. I'll be done by the time I go back to work.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah. No doubt.
Yeah.
All right.
What did you watch this week, Tys?
I'm just going to talk very briefly. I watched a film with the most cumbersome title of all time on Netflix, and that is a film called I Don't Feel a... Hang on. I can't fucking even say it. Because it is such a... it's just an awful title.
Go on. I dare you.
I Don't Feel at Home in This World Anymore. It's a Netflix original.
Yep.
Loving my Netflix originals at the moment.
Yeah, you are, aren't you?
The reason why I watched this is because it's the directorial debut of Macon Blair.
Right.
Macon Blair is a guy that has worked with Jeremy Saulnier, who directed Green Room.
Oh, right.
So he was the main character in his first film called Blue Ruin, which I haven't actually seen yet, which I believe is on SBS On Demand though. Ooh. So I'm really excited. I think it just popped up recently, so I'm going to be watching that very soon.
Fair deal.
He also plays a supporting role in Green Room, and so he's learnt some tricks from old Jeremy Saulnier.
Yeah.
And has decided he wanted to write and direct his own film.
Nice.
It is a very strange film. It juggles tones.
Yeah.
Quite effectively. It's a story of a woman who is suffering from a certain form of depression or anxiety. She's on some
she's on meds
that names rang a bell.
Right.
And she has her house burgled.
Right.
And when she tries to tell the police about it, she gets the pretty generic response. Look, we'll do what we can, but this is the situation. You're probably never going to see your stuff again, and we're probably not going to catch these guys. And because of the certain disconnect that she's already feeling with the world at that stage, because she feels like she's, this is a common plight of people with certain, depression and anxiety and things like that, is you do feel the disconnect from the rest of humanity. She takes it upon herself to basically get her shit back.
Right. She death wishes her shit back.
Pretty much.
Whoa!
But that part of it actually happens very quickly.
Oh, okay.
She stumbles across Elijah Wood, who is a similarly disconnected human being who maybe has... I feel like he would probably be an Asperger's person. Yeah.
Okay.
It's never mentioned specifically, but that's the kind of vibe I get from him.
Sure.
He's a death metal listening to intellectual, but very kind of socially awkward.
Yep.
So they like team up, and she goes to get her shit back.
Nice.
She does get her shit back quite quickly, but she unfortunately runs afoul of some very interesting humans in her travels. So
I'm interested.
It starts
now.
off as kind of like a black comedy, with some kind of lighter moments, and while there is a certain kind of undercurrent of what's the foreboding to it.
Yeah.
It keeps it pretty light, and then it takes a steep turn about halfway through, and we're drifting into kind of ultra-violent territory for a little while.
A little green room-ish. Sure.
Yeah, for sure. But somehow maintaining this really kind of this very strange black comic tone.
Right.
So some of the most horrific shit you will ever see happens, but then immediately after, and I mean part of the same shot, is something that will have you just in hysterics.
Right.
And so it's a very strange tone. I think that he juggles it really, really well. I found it super engaging, and a film unlike any other kind of film you will ever see. Sure. It's so unique. And even though that title is awful, I think it does represent it adequately well.
I think a lot of people have felt like that at some point.
Well, yeah, I think, and that's exactly it demonstrates her character very well, but it also kind of it makes this film stick out the same way the film does. It's a unique title. It will never be shared with anything else.
You can't remake I Don't Feel at Home at the World.
No. And it's not your generic like the pile of Steven Seagal straight to DVD titles. That you cannot distinguish because the title is it's basically two words. One of them is like death. Well, we just talked about Death Wish. One of them is like a doing word.
Fire.
Or Fire Down Below.
Fire Down Below, yeah.
But we got to get into it. Like, we got to get into the more the DVD kind of realm stuff.
Yeah.
Against the Dark,
Shall
I want to say is one.
Let's try this. Hang on.
Against the Night?
Against the...
Or, even that string of Van Damme ones where it's like Wrong Bet, Death Warrant.
Yeah.
Well, even the classic Seagals, Marked for Death, Out for Justice.
Yeah, man.
Above the Law. Like, they're also generic titles.
2 seconds.
But we'll never have to worry about that with a film like I Don't Feel at Home in the World anymore.
Yeah.
Because it is the furthest thing from a generic title.
Half Past Dead, Attack Force, Shadow Man.
There we go. Attack Force. What kind of fucking name is that?
The Marker, Kill Switch.
Kill Switch. There we go.
Driven to Kill.
Driven to Kill. This is all perfect.
A Danger Man. A Danger Man.
A Danger Man.
Oh, sorry, A Dangerous Man. Sorry, I was reading that wrong. Sorry, my fault, people.
Like the
Maximum Conviction.
That is...
There you go.
That
right
is
there.
Perfect.
Oh, we've got a good man. Oh, maybe there's sequels.
A Good Man and a Dangerous Man. That's a double bill. Anyway, so get on it. Netflix original.
Yeah.
So you don't have to pay anything if you've already got Netflix.
Yeah, I'm going to watch that.
Do watch it.
Yeah, bring it on.
All right.
Feature prez.
Let's jump to our feature prez.
Feature prez.
And now for our feature presentation.
Okay, so here we are.
Holy
Nicholas.
shit.
Incredible Hulk, 2008.
But what is the segment called, Tys?
We Are Groot.
We Are Groot, Volume 2.
Volume 2 of We Are Groot, our examination of superhero films, our favourite genre of film?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sorry,
I don't think
it is.
there's no argument there.
Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, it's fine. Like, we can, I'll watch fucking anything.
Hey
but,
man, I love a good cry. I'll watch. I love rom-coms.
Yeah.
I own When a Man Loves a Woman.
You want me to watch some weird experimental Swedish film? I'll give that a fucking crack,
I'll
man.
definitely give that a crack.
But yeah, I've got to say, superhero films are
it's our bag.
favorite genre. So we do have this, our segment that allows us to kind of talk about them. We've decided to call We Are Groot after the beautiful character Groot.
Groot.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Who we love.
Who we do love.
Who doesn't love? If you don't love, you heartless bastard. You heartless bastard. But yeah, our second one is The Incredible Hulk.
Yes, we did start with Batman Returns, and now we're jumping into the Marvel Universe.
Shit, is this a can? Is this a can that we're opening?
No, because not quite yet. Because
it's not quite yet.
As I mentioned in my description last week when I was writing it up, this is the black sheep of Marvel's cinematic universe. This is the film that they pretend kind of didn't happen.
They've alluded to it though.
No, I mean it exists
it is
in canon,
the canon, but yes, it.
But as far as any other film goes, it's the one that least influences anything else that has happened. Absolutely. We did have Thunderbolt Ross come back in Civil War, which was great. I'm so glad that because
I love his character.
It's
William
Hurt, which
fucking William Hurt. Are you kidding me?
I'll take him in any film he's in.
Absolutely.
And when of course the recasting of Edward Norton,
do you think that's why they don't look at this anymore?
I think it's got a couple of. It's also I think got a little bit to do with Louis Leterrier. Yeah. Who it was apparently not a very friendly relationship between him and Marvel. So he made it quite clear that he would never work with them again. And so I think in order to kind of, make that relationship kind of cemented, I don't think they wanted to.
I really wouldn't be burning
well, look, Joss Whedon's kind of done it, I guess, now.
He is doing it, isn't he? Yeah.
He's, but I mean, we're in a world where there is no reason why a director can't go direct for both of these franchises.
Exactly.
Like in a perfect world,
why should you?
They should be able to.
Why would you be able to?
I just feel like we do know that Joss Whedon wasn't super happy with the way Age of Ultron came out.
That's true.
He just felt like it became a bit too much of a influence on emphasis on world building as opposed to storytelling.
And that's true.
He was exhausted and
you thought, to be honest, at the end of it, at the end of Avengers 1, and because of how big Avengers 1 was, you think that he would have the skeleton key to the kingdom. And that
in
he
certain
had
ways,
full run.
In certain ways, I think he did. There were certain elements in that film that were very Joss Whedon-y.
Absolutely.
But obviously, there were others that were clearly designed by committee.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Skipping major
let's go back to...
But we'll go back to The Incredible Hulk.
Let's go back to The Incredible Hulk. So we're in a similar position, whereas someone like Louis Leterrier, though, who has directed a movie that is probably, as far as box office is concerned, one of the lowest as well.
It's not the best ones, no.
And so...
But it has a special place in my heart, this movie. It really does. Because
me too.
It's... Especially coming off the back of Ang Lee's The Beautiful Hulk.
Yes, which is a movie that I used to defend pretty strongly, but I think Ang Lee? Yeah. I've tried to rewatch it again in recent years, and it's almost unwatchable.
Yeah.
It's just a shambles.
I don't think I feel that there was something lost a little bit in translation with what... There was no action in that movie.
Yeah, well, I mean, there was, but there wasn't.
There wasn't. It wasn't an action movie. It was more a drama.
Yeah. And look, a lot of people throw that criticism towards Superman Returns.
Yes.
Which I don't mind. I've got no issues that Superman Returns doesn't have great action sequences.
Right.
It has great action sequences. It doesn't have a great number of them.
Yeah.
So...
Oh, please, man, that plane falling is...
Well, and look, that's leaps and bounds above anything that's in Beautiful Hulk, but it's a similar argument that I don't think is the argument we should be making. I think it doesn't work for many other reasons rather than just it wasn't very action packed.
Absolutely. But
and that led us into this, which was the second film. So it followed up from Iron Man. Iron Man was such a peak that I feel like this, unfortunately, is a disappointment.
Comparing the two,
in the kind of canon of it all.
Yes.
Iron Man just was basically a cultural revolution for a little bit. It brought back Downey Jr. from literally from the brink of nothingness and made him the biggest celebrity in the world again.
Absolutely.
And we had a character that... It was an odd choice for the second film, really, in this...
Oh, you think so?
I think to choose the Hulk, a character that... Which it kind of feels like that they were trying to fix something. That they said, oh, do you know what? It's still... we need to get that image of Hulk out of people's heads.
Yes.
So we're going to make
it
this
was
movie.
definitely no, we need to change people's minds about what the Hulk is. But as going on what you said with a weird choice, I think more people know and love the Hulk more than Iron Man back before any Iron Man movies had come out.
Yes, this is absolutely true. Well, the choice of Iron Man to be the first one is
bizarre.
very strange.
Yeah.
Yeah, really strange. But, I think that was more...
But they knew what they were doing.
It was also very clever because it was like, it's a property that if it didn't work out, I think they still had the opportunity to then still develop an Avengers brand.
Absolutely.
Even if Iron Man didn't work out.
Absolutely.
If you start with Captain America... and it's no good.
Yeah,
it's really hard to. You have to kind of almost drop the whole thing.
You do, yeah. Which, if they thought this out, if this was planned, if they thought of that and it was planned, which I'm hoping they did.
I definitely think that was a part of it. There was a very specific reason why they didn't choose Captain America to be the first one.
Amazing,
because they wanted to make sure that they had
their
something
staples
to build with.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
if you were to tell me, out of Iron Man, Incredible Hulk, Thor, and Cap, which movie wouldn't work? I thought Thor wasn't going to work.
And that's fair. I think on paper that's the one that seems like it wouldn't work.
It's it's in my head. I've read Thor, so it's the Rainbow Bridge. It's very otherworldly and things like that. But no, it works.
Well, they all work on certain levels for me.
Oh yeah,
I would say this probably works the least of the four for me, but not by a great margin.
Okay.
I quite like this movie a lot.
I like this movie a lot. In rewatching this though, Tys, because I don't know why, but I've made my wife sit through this a lot more than any other movie.
I noticed that when I was watching, I was like, I think I've seen this more than I've seen like the first Thor.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I think I've seen this more than I've seen some of the newer ones for sure. Thor 2. No.
Phase 2, I've definitely done more than Phase 1.
Oh,
actually, no.
No, that's a lie.
Surely that's a total lie.
I was watching those Phase 1 movies over and over, except for Thor for some reason, even though I really quite like it. Yeah. I've seen this one more. I've seen this one at least 5 or 6 times, I would say.
An absolute ton. Iron Man 1 and Cap were the ones that I've really churned.
Yeah. The first Avengers is the one that I've watched more than any other.
Really?
Yeah,
That's fucking awesome.
So many
times.
How
fucking good is that movie?
Because it's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
Louis Leterrier, he's not really...
Well, he comes from the Transporter movies. It's an interesting choice of director,
kicking any goals anymore, is he?
No, well, he's not... I don't... What's the most recent thing he's done?
Grimsby.
Oh. Really?
Yeah.
Why did he direct Grimsby?
Grimsby. And then he did the first Now You See Me.
Yes,
and then,
of course he did.
Before that, he did fucking Clash of the Titans.
Oh,
that piece of shit.
Tell you what, Clash of the Titans is bad, but have you seen Wrath of the Titans?
No.
That is awful.
The reason I haven't watched either of them is because I own the original Harryhausen Clash of the Titans, which I fucking love. And I'm not going to spoil it by basically doing a fucking new version of it.
It's just a big special effects.
Pegasus is black. Fuck off. It doesn't go against... It goes against everything.
It's just a big old fucking special effects fest.
Exactly. Maybe I'll watch it. No, I'm not watching it. Fuck off. I'm not watching it.
Yeah.
I try and talk myself into watching things.
I can't
Nick, watch that. Give it a shot. Go on.
It's kind of fun seeing Ray Fiennes and Liam Neeson be gods and spout this ridiculous dialogue with sincerity.
Yeah.
That's kind of fun, I guess. But there's not much else going on that.
Yeah.
But Leterrier was... On paper, it's not a bad choice though, because I think
the Transporter movies worked.
Yeah, but I think because it is essentially one long chase movie, this movie, so it's actually it's almost well thought out because they wanted to make sure that there was a sense of momentum and adrenaline running through what is really maybe the least plotted movie of all of these movies.
Well, this is where
there's no plot.
No, not really. No,
we need to find
go from A to
Bruce
B.
Banner.
Yeah.
That's the plot.
That's the plot.
Bruce Banner is trying to find the guy that can help him maybe cure it.
Yeah. Or he's just staying on the run, to be honest.
And he's just basically on the run.
Yeah.
And Thunderbolt Ross is trying to catch him. And that's your plot of your film.
Yeah. But going on that, they don't have a lot to work with because out of all the origin movies, the origin of the Hulk is a little dull. Because it literally is just a man who gets... a scientist who
fucks around and
who has a bad experiment gone wrong. Like, you know what I mean?
Well, I think it's really excellently handled in this film. Is that
the opening credits?
It's basically his origin story is in the opening credits, and then we don't have to fucking worry about it. We don't have to see what took up the first hour and a half of fucking Ang Lee's Hulk.
Thank God for that.
Yeah.
Beautiful, beautiful thinking, people. Because
it was really great.
Even if you don't know the origin of the Hulk, you get a sense through those credits. You see what happens, and then you see kind of through POVs of what's going on.
Yeah, and look, it's not exact. It's not like it's a fresh fucking idea. Like, it's a bit of a trope to kind of do the newspaper articles and the news reports and the flashes of stuff.
Yeah. Or the start of Spider-Man 2. Remember how they did the bite again through the credits sequence?
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just think it's very effective because we were in danger of having to sit through that all again.
Absolutely.
And it's a brave choice, but it's also kind of not the first choice. It's usually it takes someone to go, oh, you know what? No, we don't need the origin story. Yeah. And then 4 other writers in the room will go, what?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah, exactly.
That one guy that says, no, this movie doesn't need to be about that. It needs to be about what happens after. Is actually a kind of a smart choice.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, yeah, it took a bit of balls, and I'm glad they did it because it makes the movie a much better film.
It flows a lot quicker.
Well, I mean, we're on from the moment we get past those credits.
Yeah, he is the Hulk. He's already been the Hulk for a while. He's in hiding.
We know that we're dealing with high pressure situations where it's like if shit goes down, he could turn. Yeah. We know that he's miles away, hiding in Brazil.
He's already had a few incidents.
He's not in
America, exactly. Yeah. He's in Brazil.
He's had to, separate himself. Yeah. He knows,
which I kind of love the days before, days
without incident.
I love those.
Well, and and that's a nice little way of kind of keeping tabs on things. Yeah. I think it's used really effectively at the midway point of the film because there's a moment after we do see Hulk for the first time, which we'll come back to in a second. Yeah. And he travels into America and visits the university campus. Yeah. And it says days without incident 17. I'm like, that's really good. That's a really clever way of showing that we're
time has passed
2.5 weeks from that basically the last scene. Yeah. And I'm like, awesome. I wouldn't have thought that. Like, you don't. Sometimes you don't get those kind of signposts, and it's
which you love. You do love them,
and it's helpful because it gives you context. It just gives you. It helps you with the is he been sleeping well? Where is he staying? Like all those things that you don't think about because he usually just pops up. The main character will just pop up where they need to be. Yeah. But this tells you, oh no, for 2 weeks he's probably been hitchhiking. He's been living out of that fucking pizza dude's
house,
attic,
Stan Lee's house, which is fucking hilarious. The pizza shop is called Stanley's.
Oh, so Stan Lee. Oh, cute.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Yeah. But yeah, I do love that, and I also love the fact that the Hulk he's not a hero. He's not a superhero it's an incident. These things are bad. What's happening? Like he's hurting people, and it's not a good thing that's happening. So so it's an incident. It's not, it's been 2 weeks.
And
since
look, they
seen,
don't shy away from that, which in some ways I think is kind of good on you. You're showing it like it is, and in other ways it's like, well, that's problematic now because we're in a situation where we want to root for this character, but at the same time, like, okay, look, so those guys in Brazil were scumbags, but do they deserve to get their head squashed by a Hulk?
Through a hole.
You know what I mean?
Massive thing. That guy died. That first guy fucking died.
And you know what? And this movie tries really hard because the next shot, it pans past him and it makes sure to have the...
Show him. I'm like, bullshit. That man is fucking dead. That man is dead. He's just been thrown by the Hulk.
Oh, he dead.
Oh, fuck
yeah, 100%. And so that's kind of problematic, I think, in some ways, because we still want to root for this character.
Absolutely.
I think they take pains to show that he doesn't hurt anyone in the university.
But this is but I feel that this is the struggle throughout the Hulk, throughout the Marvel universe, is the
collateral damage
and the population seeing him. Is he a hero or is he a monster?
Well, just for all of the characters, I think they've handled the idea of collateral damage a lot better. Than not to bring up DC again, but then DC, because they have...
Oh, fuck yeah. No, we're going to bring up DC. Sure, we're talking about superheroes. This is We Are Groot.
Yeah, we are Groot. Exactly. That civilian life has a lot more worth in the Marvel films, and I think, as much as it frustrates me, though, because it's kind of like... these Brazilian factory worker guys, is it more impactful? Like, so Hulk fucks him up, right? Really fucks him up.
He does.
And that's what I mean. Yeah. Are we throwing our fist in the air like, yeah, Hulk, fuck up these would-be rapists.
Fucking assholes. Yeah,
who
exactly.
Who maybe are just kind of shady dudes. Yeah. Like, maybe there's a fair chance bullies. All they wanted to do was kind of work him over with a few punches. So, it's kind of like we needed them this movie would never have made those guys not be awful dudes.
No, that's true. If these were nice dudes, it would...
Hulk has to smash them because that's the first appearance of the Hulk.
Yeah, he does.
So, yeah, exactly. So we have to make them be jerks.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
we have to put the scene in
but I think
of them
you also
hassling
get
the girl.
The guys who come in, the FBI guys or whatever they are.
Oh, like the secret agent guys.
Yeah, they're nice guys.
Well, they
seem,
they don't seem like,
like
they're not presented as like these kind of black ops, heartless dudes. Yeah, and some of them get fucked up royal.
Yeah, man, that guy gets squashed
by the thing.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like...
Dude, Hulk, he just killed someone,
man.
Yeah,
I think he killed a bunch of dudes.
Yeah.
And even Blonsky, who is the main villain of this film.
Yeah.
Who, I'm going to put it out there, man. Good villain.
Yeah.
Really strong.
Yeah.
Because of all the villains we've had, has a legitimate arc.
Yeah.
Right? Really strong arc.
Is already kind of a monster inside.
Well,
like
I don't know. I think that's half the point. I think that he is just, he's a soldier that has found worth.
Right.
He's found his life's worth by being a soldier. Now, for some people, that's maybe not the greatest thing.
Sure.
So if he's got an underlying kind of anger management issue, we'll say, maybe being a military guy is maybe not the best thing for you, but he's obviously very good at what he does. But there's that wonderful scene where him and William Hurt have the conversation. He says, "What are you, like 45?" And he stops and says 39. And William Hurt says, "It takes a toll."
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah. This is like, you're building a really effective villain here. Someone who wants to have strength to continue doing what he does because he knows he's good at it, but age is fucking catching up with him.
Yeah.
And we're in a situation where he sees somebody that he just wants to be equal to.
Yeah, has the power to do good, but like he says, you don't deserve that power.
Which is, I think he's a really interesting character. Yeah. I like it a lot.
And the casting, man, that's
Tim Roth's really good.
On.
Yeah.
Spot on.
Although, man, tell you what, he does not have any abs.
He doesn't have any abs.
No, and I say specifically because they paint those fucking abs on him. Yeah. They are painted on. They look so fake.
He took his shirt off on the day of shooting and he was like, "Tim, what happened to working out, man?" Fuck.
Yeah, I was like hanging out with Tarantino and those dudes.
I've been in America for 2 days, mate. Fuck off.
Exactly. I've been fucking eating airplane food, man. What do you expect?
Come on, man. I'm not going to do that.
I had burgers.
That's hilarious.
So he doesn't. Yeah, he's an interesting physical choice for the character, but great actor. Like Tim Roth's fucking great. Yeah. So really interesting choice and great character. And sad that
because Blonsky in the comics is a Dolph Lundgren type.
Oh, okay, sure.
So that's why for me it was a total different casting of Blonsky. He's a Russian. They only put in Russian. Brought up in English because he's English
of that fucking name though. Like,
exactly.
You can't be Emil Blonsky and not be born in Russia.
Yeah, exactly. Great casting.
Yeah, and I like where he ends up. I think the idea that he gets kind of corrupted by the power of it, whereas Bruce Banner is trying to restrain the power. Yeah. He knows that it's too much power for one person to have.
Yeah, he doesn't even want that power.
No, I think that's a really good representation of two sides of the same coin, which is kind of what you want all your antagonists to be.
Absolutely.
A good antagonist is the villain but with if things went differently.
Yeah.
Yeah. If that's how we can kind of that's how we see the effective kind of clashing of ideals between a protagonist and antagonist. I think they've done really well with that.
Yeah.
That bit where he gets fucking kicked though is
one of my favorites.
Oh, Jesus.
That is what happens if you get kicked by the Hulk, and I love it. When you see him in the hospital afterwards, I'm like, no one is fucking with the Hulk.
No,
seriously, you just got kicked and got fucking face planted into a tree.
Oh, man.
It's a
hard face plant. I actually, it's one of those scenes that I just wish they actually, because they do cut away a little too quick.
You just wish it.
I wish it just hovered on it just 1 second because it is shocking.
Yeah,
and it would be.
Hard.
I think it's the kind of thing that would stop it from getting a PG-13 rating. Yeah. And I reckon if anything, Leterrier was like, no, I want to see the real, because it's one of the only scenes that really shows the damage that the Hulk can do.
Yeah, exactly.
To a human. And this is he's already got some fucking Steve Rogers juice in him.
Captain America. Yeah, Captain America at that point.
Yeah, so to show that that's the capabilities
of it. The build-up of that scene, how he just walks up to the fucking Hulk and goes, "What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Do something."
Yeah.
Takes his earpiece out because he doesn't want to listen to Roth.
No, because...
have a shot, and he just fucking kicks
But that's that whole thing about the kind of the false power.
Yeah.
The arrogance of false power.
Yeah, exactly.
Which I think it's just kind of... I think Blonsky is probably the best written character in this film. I'm going to go out and say.
Well, we'll come back to that. Let's table that. I want to talk about Edward Norton or Mark Ruffalo. Who do you? Because when I love them both equally. Sure. I just would have liked to have seen Edward Norton play in with Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah,
and all of those.
agree.
I would have really loved to have seen him in Avengers.
I think Edward Norton was fine and potentially could have been better than Ruffalo.
Yeah,
but Ruffalo is the better now.
Is he better because of the script he's given?
Yes, I think he's better because of the opportunities he's had and the way that the character is developed. Ruffalo just has been lucky enough to be the one playing him at that point.
Yeah.
But and I like Ruffalo's demeanor a little bit more. I think
you could believe him more to be a scientist. He's more cuddly.
He has the that side of Bruce Banner down a little bit better than Edward Norton. Edward Norton is a I would never call him a warm individual. No. Even though, and maybe that's because we know what we know about him. Maybe
is it because of American History X?
No, well, I think.
Do you know what I mean?
I mean, that's partly it, but I mean that shows just how effective he is. If I think of something like Fight Club, though, he's very endearing in that film.
Yeah.
So I think
have we seen him in a warm role?
Keeping the Faith. That
romantic
comedy. I hated that movie. It was awful.
It was awful.
Anyway.
Which really saddens me because isn't that his only directed that? Oh, that can't be fun.
He's directed something.
Has he?
Oh, maybe it's
2 seconds.
Maybe
2 seconds. I need to look this up.
Dude, stop directing. That was rubbish.
Stop directing. No, Keeping the Faith. That's it.
Oh, poor guy. Well, anyway, I actually think what it is because it's become kind of like his dirty laundry the way that things went down with this film.
Yeah.
And with American History X to a degree. The director of American History X has come out and said basically Edward Norton just stole it from me in the editing room. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I've gotten the sense that he's a little hard to work with.
And this is what happened in this is that Edward Norton had massive clashes with Marvel about how he thought the film should go as well. And then
because I remember back when what's the car movie that he did?
The car movie
he was obligated to do it, and he did it.
The Italian Job. Yeah.
So the studio owned him at that point and said, "No, you have to do this movie," and he didn't want to do it at all. And you can tell from his performance is lacking.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, he did the Italian Job, so he could kind of muster the money for 25th Hour.
Well, and this is.
But he's still good.
This information,
he's still amazing.
Yeah, he's good, and that's. But
that
baggage kind of comes along with it, unfortunately.
Exactly.
And so we kind of know now that he's a bit of an arsehole.
Yeah.
And it's effective in certain roles. I'd say something like Birdman, where he actually
is that
guy a little bit.
Absolutely.
That kind of that really overprotective of the craft kind of person.
Yeah. That's so true.
That works really well.
It works well in his favor.
Yeah. For something where we need to see his warmth. I don't know
because you need to be the warmth. You can't be two monsters. Does that make sense? You need to be the Jekyll and Hyde. You know?
But he does it well enough, I think. And the movie we get away with it through this film.
Absolutely.
Can I talk for a moment?
Oh, go
about.
Please do.
I want Liv Tyler back.
I want Liv Tyler. I want Betty Ross back. I don't like that Hulk.
They must be saving her for something.
Well, so since the Ragnarok trailer, the second one.
Yeah.
Ruffalo came out and said, no, they're not going to do another Hulk movie. And who's the producer at the top of the Marvel Universe? The guy who has all the says.
Yes, Kevin Feige.
Yeah. He said, no, it's not. We're thinking about it. We're not going to do one.
No, well, I mean, the idea will always be on the table. I don't think it's ever going to be completely excluded. It's because whatever they make, if they make anything with the Hulk as the main title, it's either, I think it's Paramount or Universal.
Oh, really?
Gets the same way Sony gets all the Spider-Man money.
Really?
So that's why, that doesn't count when they put him as a secondary character in someone else's film. So that's why they're sticking to that for the time being.
Okay.
If they work that deal out, you can fucking guarantee a Hulk movie will be out within a year. But I don't think we need to wait for a specific Hulk movie to see Betty Ross. Again? I think, how great would it be if Betty Ross, because we've got Thunderbolt Ross now in the Civil War movies, how great would it be if right as
they get together.
Banner and Black Widow get together. Liv
Betty
Tyler
Ross
pops up
rocks
as
up.
Betty Ross.
Oh,
Because I think she's fucking great in this movie.
she's great. I feel that the thing is, we get nothing of her.
We don't get enough of her. No,
at all.
But just the
but I still like her
I
character.
really like her a lot.
Yeah.
And just the small moments we get, she is the warmth. She is the warmth that Edward Norton is missing.
Absolutely.
And
that gut moment that punches me every time, that if you don't know, it's kind of a surprise that General Ross is her dad, that she yells in front of the dad in front of the tank. Oh, my heart just jumps up into my throat at that point.
God, yeah, and I think I really like Liv Tyler.
I like Liv Tyler. I've always liked Liv Tyler.
But, you know, it's she's one of those people that I think is just I've never thought about it.
Yeah.
But I think
what has she been doing?
She's really great in everything she does.
Yeah?
Yeah. I don't think I've ever not liked Liv Tyler in a performance.
Really?
Yeah.
Ooh, can I challenge that?
Go for it.
Keep talking. I'm going to keep looking.
And I would love nothing else than to see Liv Tyler pop up in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah, I really would.
Wouldn't it be great?
Yeah.
And just to give a little bit more...
She was perfect as Arwen. That was...
perfection.
Insane.
I think that would be really nice. It would pay kind of a nice little bit of respect to this film as well, because I know it kind of gets a bad rap as the Black Sheep, but it's not that bad.
Yeah. Well,
nowhere near that bad.
The only other time that they've referenced this movie is when...
there was a mention of Harlem when they were talking about all the destruction that the Avengers had caused.
He's not allowed back in Harlem anymore.
Yeah.
But
nothing about anything else?
No, there's no Liv Tyler. I can't pick anything.
Ross.
I can't think
well,
anything.
And amazingly, they tried to set up Tim Blake Nelson as I can't remember which character it is.
And this is This is one
not brain. No,
I forget him.
He's got a big brain.
Yeah, he's got a big brain. Another comic book character. I don't like Tim Blake Nelson. I don't like I feel that, okay.
He's one of those guys that I don't quite understand how he became a movie star.
Yeah, I don't, but I don't like his character.
I don't like his character very much at all.
I think this is the lowest point of the movie. All of his storyline.
Well, what I found disappointing, and this is something that I remember from every time I watch it, is the first time I watched it, I was so excited to find out who Mr. Blue was. And then to find out it was some random guy at a university who becomes this Z-level villain. Yeah. I was like, oh, that's not really exciting.
Exactly.
That could have been someone great.
I just didn't like it. Was bad casting. It was boring storyline, and the comedy thing. He was trying to add a funny element to his character,
because he was all goofy and
but it didn't fucking work.
Yeah.
I'm like, dude,
no,
you can't do this.
Yeah, I didn't like him much at all.
Whatever you're doing, it's wrong. It's shit.
Shouldn't that should have been Tony Stark. Mr. Blue should have been Tony Stark. The scientist helping him figure out.
Tony Stark. Yeah.
He didn't have to do.
Wow, that'd be such a better element.
The whole he wouldn't have had to show up and do what Tim Blake Nelson does, because I mean that element needs to be there, I guess. But someone smarter than me can figure that out. But do you know what I mean? Mr. Blue needed to be somebody with weight.
Yeah.
And so even if it is just that at the end when we get the after credit scene, which is actually not even after credits, it's actually part of the film. It's before they decided that those would work better mid credits or something. Imagine if he was saying, "I've been trying to help him, but I can't help him. We need to do it together.
Yeah.
Because we've got this thing called the Avengers."
Which doesn't really work, that jumping straight to the end. Why is he going to Ross to ask him for the Hulk's
exactly.
help?
That's
the only thing Sam brought to my attention is maybe he's tracking the Hulk, because I don't know.
Thunderbolt
is tracking the Hulk.
Seems like he's drowning his sorrows pretty heavily at that point.
Yeah, which I love.
I do.
It's
the way to admit defeat.
With a cigar and a green drink going, reload.
Oh, I love. Yeah, he's got the green drink. Everything's always fucking.
Yeah,
the use of green.
You have to have it. The bed that he sleeps in is green.
I get it. It's all clever. You have lots of green throwbacks, and there's an overall green tinge on the film. It's good. It's like
but General Ross, he's the most flushed out. He's the greatest written character in this movie. Bruce Banner and Betty Ross don't really have anything to grab onto. Bruce has more.
Yeah,
but I
think Betty's got some good character moments, but she doesn't have much agency in the actual story.
Yeah.
But as a character, I think she's relatively well written.
Ross
is good. I think Ross is good. The problem I have with Ross is that we're still in a position where he's not the villain. So Blonsky's the villain.
You don't think so?
But Ross, well, he shouldn't be. Ross should be a little bit more not neutral. I think Ross, to be slightly more effective, we should have understood his motives a little bit better. He comes across as just as a bit of a jealous fuckwit.
Really? No, I like that. No, I like that. You get the sense of he wants to use it as a weapon, and he's been.
But that's what I mean. I think his intentions
the whole time.
We should kind of. It's one of those villains, like, to bring up the great villain from The Rock again, Ed Harris.
Ed Harris.
Which whenever I need a villain motivation, I am just going to bring up Ed Harris from The Rock, because the power of that film is that we agree with him, and at no point do I agree with Ross.
Right.
And that's a problem. He's always
Francis X. Hummel.
That's not
that's
not at all what I thought his character's name was. Francis.
General Hummel.
General what? Hummel.
Hummel.
It's even hard to say out loud.
Not Hummel. What's wrong with Hummel?
It doesn't flow. It doesn't roll off the tongue.
They all call him Hummel anyway. Hummel. I mean, they all call him General in the movie anyway.
Yeah, all right.
Sorry, what were you saying?
It's no Stanley Goodspeed. I'll tell you that. Yeah, do you know what I mean? Though I struggle to. I just find him to be a little bit of. He's just a bit of an idiot because he's.
Oh, really?
I think
don't get that at all.
His goals are so clearly incorrect.
Okay.
That I'm just kind of like, you're just corrupted by your jealousy, and two, your need to be correct.
Right.
And that's not enough for me.
See, I see it as, because of the amount of times that he puts his own daughter in danger with the helicopter crashing down, and at the end when he shoots the gun at the Abomination, even though his daughter's in the helicopter that you're shooting the gun at.
By that point, isn't he? He's always more, no, my daughter's there and stuff. Like, he does have a bit of a turn when it comes to her. Isn't there a bit when someone tries to shoot and he says, no, my daughter's in there?
Yeah. Yeah, that's when they're in Sam Stone's lab or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, even because of that, like,
no, I'm
he
not
still
saying
doesn't care. He's so blinded by his need of wanting whatever Bruce Banner has.
Yeah.
But this is what I am putting onto it.
Sure.
Had they flushed out that character a bit more, see, this is the thing I feel with this movie, nothing's flushed out. Bruce could have done a little bit more with, I like the struggles that you see Bruce deal with, the fact that, at the very start, he is the Hulk. He knows he can turn into the Hulk like that, so he has to keep everything on the down low. He has to have those, which I love that they've put in. He has those kind of harnessing his emotions classes where they smacks him across the face. And
it's basically like a singing lesson.
Yeah,
that guy
basically.
As well, the way he's talking about stuff, I'm like, that's what I tell my students. Minus the slapping.
Minus the slapping.
Could you imagine
which I'm sure you'd love
lesson?
to
I'm
do
like, focus your breath.
Wrong.
Smack them.
What kind of key is that, Stephen? I love that. But yeah, so he's dealing with trying not to emote too quickly. Not only that, he's dealing with bullies in the workplace and things like that.
Yep.
But I just feel it's not flushed out a bit more. Had we seen just a little bit more of each character, I feel this movie could have done a lot better.
Yeah,
it's the human scenes rather than the action.
I think they do attempt.
They do. I'm just saying a bit more.
Yeah, I would like. I agree. I having said that, it's not that I always like more. I like what is the perfect amount.
Oh, okay.
So whether or not this is the perfect amount is probably up for debate. I would say there needs to be a slightly more in this movie. You're right.
Yeah.
I don't know if it needs to come from Banner so much. I think what he's got is I think there's enough there. I think maybe it's just not, the focus isn't placed on it enough.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
There's enough material there. We just don't have we just don't place the emphasis on it enough to really kind of milk it. Whereas with Ross, I just don't think it's there at all.
Oh, right.
Do you know what I mean? I think, and I don't actually care. Like,
oh, really?
I think
that's why you like Blonsky so much.
I think because Blonsky is so effective.
Yeah.
Ross can just be there and just do your thing.
Yeah.
I don't need you to try and hijack this film as the more interesting villain.
Yeah.
Because Blonsky is
the villain.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I like that he's just kind of like, he's just there. He's just a bit of a fuckwit. And he gets told.
Yeah.
Like, and
he gets his comeuppance.
Comeuppance to a degree, but I just like the way Liv Tyler talks to him.
Yeah.
I think she's like, the way she approaches those conversations that he has with him are fantastic.
Fair deal.
Yeah.
You know what I did love about this movie?
What's that,
there
man?
was one scene that made me that happens. It happens in all romantic movies. Well, most of them.
Is this a romantic movie?
No.
Oh, okay. Here we go.
I said it happened. What I'm about to talk about happens in romantic movies.
Very good.
Movie Rain, Tyson. Where do you sit with Movie Rain? Because I love Movie Rain.
I like Movie Rain to a certain degree.
Because that scene happened in this movie, and Sam's like, "Jesus fucking Christ, this is cliche," and I'm like, "What are you talking about? I fucking love this."
Yeah, I like Rain in certain circumstances.
I love it.
I think I like it.
Movie Rain. I love it.
I like it when they're in the cave.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they needed it when she was
out of the
when
car?
she picked him up out of the
Well,
car.
I was talking about the car scene.
Yeah, it's unnecessary.
I
it's nice that it's there.
I like it.
It looks great, but it doesn't need to be there. I like the rain. I like the way that in the cave, because it's raining, and there's thunder and lightning, that Hulk freaks out like he has to protect her from the lightning.
Yeah,
that's a really nice
I do like that.
touch.
Yeah.
The way he basically tries to man up to lightning. Which is fucking...
It's a monster thing.
It's such a Hulk thing to do, though. The way that he sees the lightning and goes,
like, what the fuck?
You reckon you're tough?
Yeah. Throws a massive boulder at the fucking
exactly.
sky.
And make sure she's back.
Covers her.
Get back. I'm going to fuck up the lightning.
Yeah.
So you needed that from the thunderstorm.
You do.
Yeah, and that's... But what... Can you...
Go on.
What's the deal? How come it just starts raining suddenly in the university?
Well,
That's really...
No, I understand what you're saying. They need it to happen because they need the fire from the helicopter, which is covering her, to go down quite quickly.
Sure.
But you have to look really closely. They set up the fact that the rain is coming in other shots, but your focus is somewhere else.
Sure.
So in the shot...
So there's dark clouds around and all kinds of stuff.
So there's, the shot where he comes out of that glass thing?
Yeah.
Behind that, there's thunder. You see, there's lightning behind that.
Right.
So you're like, oh, okay. So they're building up so that it rains on cue.
Okay, yeah.
And
rain does not start like that.
It is out of nowhere. It does.
Yeah. I thought it was like is that like the petrol from the helicopter like spraying?
Coming down?
Yeah, it was
random.
It didn't make any sense
Random.
to me.
You know what I don't like?
What's that?
One thing I don't like about this? Well, actually, no, I'm not going to start with that. I'm going to start with this. As far as, how does this go, Tys, as far as grey monsters at the end? Because we've talked about grey monsters at the end.
Grey monsters at the end. But at least they really worked hard to make it a...
character.
Yeah,
it's not. It hasn't got a lot of dimensions.
I
but
wish
it's a
it didn't
character.
talk as much as it did because they're some of the worst moments.
Absolutely.
But even just its physical design, I feel like it's kind of unique. They tried really hard to make it stand out. They tried to make it kind of different. Because it is
you've got
very
two similar characters.
It is kind of doomsday-ish as well. It's got the protruding kind of bones and everything like that. But it feels
doomsday for the comics people. That's what he's talking about, not the BVS.
Yeah, not from fucking Batman v Superman. Yeah, but they tried to do something with it, and I think it kind of works.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know much about the Abomination from the comics. I feel like it was a pretty.
They've got a pretty spot on.
Oh, really?
Well, apart from the
design
bones,
wise?
the bones.
Okay.
Yeah, no, but yeah, he does the head shape and all of that stuff.
Oh, okay, interesting. That's cool. Yeah. That's cool. So he's not coloured in any way?
No.
Okay. Well, that's, and I think that works pretty well.
The ones that I've
he shouldn't have spoken.
No, he shouldn't have spoken.
100%.
No.
And
a couple of lines every now and then, but that's why I like how in Thor Ragnarok, it's like Thor, Hulk like fire.
Yeah,
Thor
well,
like
because
water.
he should talk.
Like,
he should talk with a very kind of, just random syllables pieced together. So he was
almost like broken
felt,
English.
Yeah, he felt like he kind of had a pretty good handle on the English language, and it felt really strange that he'd be blowing up shit, and then he'd turn up and be like, "Oh, Ross," and I'm like, "Ross." It's not right because it's. I know it is only one word, but it felt really kind of. Any last words?
Yeah, and, all that shit.
Yeah.
And you're like, fuck off.
Also, speaking of that, there's a real problem in this film how they try to name the characters. Like the clunkiness of the dialogue to chuck it in. God, it was
like this big Hulk. And I'm like, fuck off, really?
No, because the word Hulk is associated with the Hulk.
The Hulk.
So to say something like, it was kind of big and hulking.
Yeah.
It's like, But you wouldn't know
your
that.
only recollection is the Hulk, so you're coming back
because it's not a word that pops up very often, like in English language. So for a stoner uni student who that's what it looks like. Oh, it's like this. It was like this Hulk, man.
Yeah,
like
wrong. No, there's no way
his association with that word comes from the comic character, not from anything else.
Exactly.
So that's kind of kind of was really clunky. And the
other
worst one is that would be some kind of abomination. It's just like, oh,
fucking
stop
lame.
it.
At that point, the movie like is sucking on a little bit of level there. Because I was like,
it does take a downward turn once it hits Tim Blake Nelson. I think that 15 minutes is probably the worst 15 minutes of the movie.
Absolutely.
You're right.
Absolutely. But it comes back with. So as far as monster versus monster goes and how boring that action sequence could have been, this one actually, I think, does quite well. For as monsters fighting monsters go.
I think for the first...
I think
the first section, I think it does really well. On the street, I feel like when they get up into the building rooftop, I think I don't think it carries.
It's like the pull out of the bone and...
That there's moments through it. I just think I think it's just blocked and directed a lot better when it's on the street.
On the street,
I really enjoy the POV center of the frame running towards each other stuff. I think choices that are really effective. I like the idea of the splitting the car in half and using them as like boxing gloves.
Yeah, that's like awesome.
It's a really great little idea. I just think once they start just basically fucking up buildings, and that's when I start kind of falling into the same traps that I do when I watched Man of Steel, where it's just like you're just fucking up buildings. Yeah. Where are these people? What's going on? Yeah. And then when you get up to a certain point on the rooftop, and it's just kind of there is no considering the way it ends as well, where it's like, hang on, there's been no everything has been these huge moments, and he's stopped just because
you've choked him
at the right time. Yeah. It doesn't even look like he's working that hard.
No.
There is that one moment where he kind of with the chain, I guess, but I don't know. I think I think I think it started really well. I just don't think it knew how to finish it.
Yeah. And that when he does finish and kind of run off, why the fuck are there civilians on that roof? Like for some reason, the entire town is on that roof.
How do they get up there, man?
Like what the fuck?
Does everyone just walk up?
What kind of person is on the street, sees a helicopter crash, and go, I'm going to go up there. I'm going to
I got to go check out, see what's going on.
No, that doesn't happen. That doesn't happen.
I liked the kind of Cloverfield-ish kind of style filming that went on
at the abomination
of it.
Yeah,
I thought that was
really
cool.
Very good use of cinematography.
Yeah,
it was
the
very
handheld
good.
kind of on the street level stuff where you can't really get a good look at the abomination, but you kind of boots on the ground style.
They use that quite a lot in this movie, which is good. They don't reveal whatever the monster is at any point.
Yeah, well, what's funny is because for that whole first sequence with the Hulk, it feels,
you don't see him.
No, you don't see him, but it feels like it's because of they didn't have a handle on the special effects.
Oh, really? No.
That's the idea I get from that, because the first time you actually do see him in that, it's kind of like, oh, that's disappointing.
What?
I think he's far more convincing in the university scene.
Okay. No, I liked him. I never thought of that. But no, I thought it was kind of they did it on, it was a...
Look, it's a creative choice that happens to also make it less expensive. So, do you know what I mean? So at the same time, it's like, oh, hey, I'm thinking about shooting most of it in shadows, and you just see a hand and a thing here and there.
No.
And then everyone goes, oh, yeah. And then they say, well, it'll also save you $17,000 million because you won't have to render in for every shot. And they go, yeah, okay,
let's do that.
Let's do it that way.
Yeah. All right, fair deal.
Do you know what I mean? Like, I fail to see the...
If you're going to show him.
100. Like, I know what their intention is creatively, but I fail to see that is more effective
the artistic choice
than the other alternative, which is to kind of just have him there. Yeah. Which is, I think, what the first Avengers movie does very well, is the reveal of him in that, I think, is excellent. When he gets
in the craft?
What are they fucking called? The air things.
We suck.
Well, anyway,
cut this out.
When he's down with Black Widow.
When he's down with Black Widow and he reveals.
I think that reveal is far more effective and similar, because he does kind of come out from darkness, but it doesn't feel like we're just kind of cheating because we can't afford it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because this actually, for a budget, this did not have a big budget.
No,
either.
It didn't. Well, the fact that, you know, all of these movies were going to be massive. Helicarrier, that's what it's called.
Helicarrier, thank you.
Yeah, they weren't off the ground just yet. Like, Iron Man did some major money, but it wasn't. They didn't know what.
No, but
they had
they're not
hands
spending
yet.
they're not spending Avengers money on this stuff yet.
No,
there's
yet.
no way.
No way.
No way. Having said that, though, I think.
Yeah.
Watching that first scene, you do kind of think, I don't really like the way the Hulk is designed. But by the time we get to the university lawn, I really like his design.
I like him.
Yeah.
I actually prefer this Hulk to the Avengers Hulk. Yeah.
I wouldn't go that far.
Only because I like my Hulk a little bigger. Not because have you seen the difference between Ang Lee's A Beautiful Hulk and this Hulk?
No.
Ang Lee's A Beautiful Hulk. He's the size of a fucking house. He's like the Iron Giant. He's way too big.
That's way too big.
That's way too big. This Hulk kind of dims it down a little, but he's still a lot bigger.
Blonsky kind of came up to like his waist.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
It was kind of, or a little bit shorter than that, maybe.
I think it was a little bit shorter.
Yeah.
But the Avengers version is just a little bit shorter.
Sure.
Which I noticed.
Well, the Avengers version is maybe only 2 or 3 feet taller than Captain America.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I like my Hulk just a little bit.
So this guy's at least double the size.
He's not double. He's a couple of feet taller than this one. A couple of feet smaller. So.
Oh, he's like double the size of Blonsky though. So this guy. So yeah, whereas the new one wouldn't be.
No.
Yeah, I don't mind that. I don't. I feel like his hair's wrong, and I feel like he's way too top heavy. Like he's got a really thin waist, and then he's got really broad shoulders.
But then he's got massive feet. I feel his feet is way too big in this movie.
I like the design mostly because I actually think. It's that weird time in CGI where I'm watching it and every now and then it looks completely convincing.
Yeah.
And I actually get caught off guard by that and go, oh, that looked really good.
Yeah.
And then other times I look and I'm like, well, that is a big fucking cartoon. And like we're not quite at the stage we are, even only 4 or 5 years later, where I never feel like I'm looking at a big cartoon.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
You
like
don't get that anymore.
It just doesn't happen anymore. Like I know I am, but it's not because of my eyes telling me that. It's my brain telling me that.
Yeah. Looking at his hair, you're right. His hair is really wrong.
Weird. What is it?
And
it's not even the same hair that Edward Norton's got.
I know, but it's not even Edward Norton's face on the Hulk. See, the new Hulk, that is Mark Ruffalo.
It looks like Ruffalo. Yeah. It's so bizarre how they've managed to do
amazing. But yeah, Sam was like, have a look at his hair. He looks like he should be played by Rob Lowe. Look at his hair.
Yeah, he's got a weird kind of part of the side, kind of funky thing going on where it's like just a bit of product to zhuzh it up.
I do like that he looks like just a guy that's completely steroided out though. Like he looks intense.
Yeah,
Hulk.
you're right.
So
Steroid.
good.
Whereas the new one, I feel like is kind of more in proportion. This one is very top heavy.
This one is, I like my Hulk top heavy.
That's okay.
Yeah.
He looks like Voltron, but with muscles. Do you know what I mean? It's so broad and square.
It was always the top. When you put the lions on the shoulders of Voltron, they were like, "That looks too big. That's way too big."
Yeah. But for 2008, it's a pretty impressive special effect.
Yeah, man.
I think there's some moments that it's really convincing, especially when it's shown at a slight distance. I know that's silly because...
No, I agree with you. There's one shot of Blonsky running and the Hulk is like here.
Yeah.
And I'm like, look at that shot. That is my favorite shot.
It's 100% looks like it's there.
Yeah.
There's bits on the university lawn where it's just far enough away that it looks real. 100% like it's there.
Yeah.
And they are the best shots of it. And unfortunately, it was a time where we get too close, we lose that clarity.
Yeah.
We lose that effectiveness. But I think we're at a time now where we can kind of choose our shots and not have it be because we're trying to keep a lid on things be like, oh, well, we can't show this. No, not too much sunlight, please.
Oh, that's too much. No, he looks like a toy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, totally.
I've got an interesting question.
Oh, go on.
Have you seen Spider-Man yet?
No.
Okay. So Martin Starr plays a character in Spider-Man Homecoming.
Martin
Starr from Freaks and Geeks and Party Down. You'd know his face when you saw him.
Right.
Anyway, so he's the teacher in Spider-Man Homecoming that takes them on a field trip. He's apparently a named character in the Spider-Man universe.
Right.
He pops up in this film.
Does he?
He's the guy that gets the pizza.
I do know him.
And holds it up like, hey man, thanks for the pizza.
Yeah.
I wonder if that's the same character. Wouldn't it be amazing if this guy was just working in a lab for a little while and then went, you know what? I'm feeling the call of education. I want to nourish young minds. And then he went and became a teacher.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe.
That's huge.
Maybe. I'm surprised. I'm probably not the first person to mention this.
You probably haven't.
But
that's okay.
I found it interesting, and I would like to know. I'm going to look up their names. I should have done it before now.
Hey, we'll come back with it. That's okay. That's okay.
No, we're not going to bother now.
I do like that. I don't know. This kind of. I don't know. I kind of like this. That the fact that Ferrigno does the Hulk's voice for absolutely everything. For this, for the Avengers Ultron.
No, it is cool. It is cool, and I like his cameo in this as well.
It's awesome.
It's a good cameo.
Nice
I actually
cameo.
like Stan Lee's cameo in this as well.
Yeah.
As the guy that drinks the Hulk juice.
Yeah.
It's a good way to use him. Yeah. Because it's just...
Some of them are they're just... Oh, you've just chucked them for
unbearable.
What's your... Oh, can we talk about your favourite Stan cameo? You don't want to do that?
I honestly can't think of...
Because I know mine straight off the
bat. The drunk guy in...
Drunk guy?
In Age of Ultron. I'm going to say the drunk guy at the party.
Colonel. That sucks.
No, I like that one.
No, my favourite is Deadpool.
Oh, well, yeah, because it's kind of...
That's funny.
It's deliberately subversive.
All right.
Well, what else, man?
No, that's it. I'm done.
You're done?
Incredible Hulky. He's badass, man.
He is badass. I don't want to... It's awkward to kind of have the conversation of what's your favourite of the Marvels and all that, but we've got a few that we always stand out. But I think more if we had to put them into like 3 categories...
Ooh.
The on point stuff, the movies that are just dandy,
sure,
and the movies that don't work,
just dandy.
Where would you put this one?
I'm biased. This is the thing. This is why I can't do
But
rate
I don't think
Marvel.
it's surely not in the highest point.
It's not in the high point,
and it can't be in the lowest.
It's not in the lowest, so it's dandy.
It's bang in the middle.
It's dandy for me.
It's dandy.
Yeah.
Are there any Marvel movies that you just don't think
work?
Just don't work at all?
Yes.
Okay, interesting.
Oh, no, because we've talked about this. There are to look at a movie and say that it absolutely does not fucking work. There's a lot of things in the movie. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there are elements of movies that I don't like in the Marvel universe that work, and half of it will work, and then the end of it is shit. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
that's fair,
but that doesn't.
So let's say lesser quality Marvel, totally adequate quality Marvel. And great quality Marvel.
Well, okay, so rewatching this, it's unfortunately it's moved this watching from quality to just a little bit lesser.
Okay, sure. Yeah, no, I
for me,
I don't know,
which hurts because it's the only Hulk movie. Like I saw this, me and my brother, we went Melbourne Central. We were the only ones in there. Oh, this is actually a really good story. Yeah. So we were the only ones in there. Now my brother doesn't look like me at all. He's a 6'1" truck driver.
All right.
Yeah. Metal. He listens to a lot of black metal with long hair. Yeah. And I took him to see this. It was the last legs of the Hulk.
Sure.
We've been fans of the Hulk for fucking ages, playing a lot of Marvel vs. Capcom. And
that's a good game.
And yeah, so we didn't look at our seat numbers, and we sat where we wanted to.
Of course.
It was an empty cinema. So we sat where we wanted to. The lights go down. We've watched the trailers. The lights go down.
Yep.
The curtain opens, and 2 middle-aged old fuckers come walking straight up.
Oh, no.
I'm like, okay, no. We'll wait. Dan just touches me and goes, "Are you watching this?" I'm like, yeah. Hang on. The screen starts flickering. It starts saying Marvel, and we're yeah. Hurry up, mate. You better get onto it. They line up their tickets. They line up our seats, our row, walk straight down our row, and go, "Guys, I think you're in the wrong seat." My brother stands up and goes, "Dude, pick a fucking seat. This place is fucking empty. Fuck off."
Dude.
And they're like, "Oh shit, sorry."
Okay, so I am a stickler for designated seating.
Absolutely. But not in an empty cinema,
If it is
Tyson.
an empty theater and you walk in and you know that there is nobody else going to be in that cinema and you just... Because it's not, if you see 2 other people in your seats, they just have happened upon that by complete chance.
Exactly. They're
Absolutely
not picking
chance.
your
They're not sitting there
seat
going,
for a reason.
"Oh, these 2 are the best." It's just kind of like
whatever. Exactly.
So I sit 2. Yeah, you sit 2 rows back.
Yeah,
and you still got your privacy.
Exactly.
You're fine.
Exactly.
You're fine. I'm a bit of a stickler. There are certain seats that I like to.
Hulk. It was hilarious.
That's great. There are certain seats that I will always try and sit in certain cinemas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're in my seats,
get the fuck.
It could have been a different story.
Oh really? If it was an empty cinema?
Could have been like, all right.
Not if it was an empty cinema.
I'm gonna go get the. I'm gonna go get the manager.
You're in my seat. It's an empty cinema. Get the fuck out.
But I picked these seats. Yeah, very good. Well, I think that might that might wrap us up. I think
Incredible Hulk. Well, hang on, wait. Where do you rank the Incredible Hulk?
It's lowish.
It's lowish.
It's still an enjoyable watch, and it's got some really great moments in it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm happy to let it kind of just be a film that I'll watch from time to time.
Exactly.
I'm glad that it actually doesn't have a great weight to the rest of the universe, because I don't want to have to keep revisiting this excessively.
Yeah.
I think the way that I watch it now is just the right amount, where I'm like, I'll watch it and go, hey, that's got good bits in it, but it's okay, it's fine.
Yeah.
And if I had to keep watching it and start really exploring its flaws, I think it would become worse.
Absolutely.
But having said that, bring back Liv Tyler, Betty Ross.
Yeah, man.
Hashtag. Let's get it happening. Let's get it trending on Twitter. Liv Tyler back as Betty Ross. Is that too long for a hashtag? I don't know how that works.
You can't be too long for a hashtag. That's the point of hashtags, I think.
Yeah, bring back
Betty Ross.
Bring back Betty Ross.
That's a good hashtag. Bring back Betty Ross.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
BBBR.
BBBR.
The extra B is for BYOBB. Hey, man.
Yeah.
Let's cross some streams.
Let's cross some
streams. I don't have the real high stuff in me today. And that's all I got for you. All right. Well, Nicholas, we're crossing some streams.
What have you got for us today, Thomas?
Am I going to go first?
You can go first if you like.
Well, I'm going to go a film that's on Netflix at the moment. And that is a film from 2001, which is called Enemy at the Gates. Do you know this film?
I love this film. Is this a sniper film?
That is,
I
yes.
love this movie.
It is the sniper film set during the Battle of Stalingrad.
Yes.
Which is it's like a sniper battle between a Russian and a German soldier.
Jude Law.
Jude Law plays the Russian.
Yes.
And Ed Harris plays the German sniper. And it's a really great film. The action is super tense, and for a film that is basically a lot of time spent with just two guys hiding in different areas of a battlefield trying to suss out where the other person is.
Yeah.
How
good is that?
They're really, really engaging.
Yeah.
The battle scenes are super effective. Rachel Weisz is in it as well. And
one of the most realistic sex scenes I've ever seen.
I was actually just going to mention that.
Yeah.
The sex scene I remember for being one of the really kind of realistic.
Yeah.
It's
no
frills, no romance.
No,
really
but very intimate.
Yeah, but super intimate. You're totally right.
Yeah.
Very effective. Joseph Fiennes, who I've never really warmed to, does a pretty good job in this film.
Yeah.
But really, it is all about Ed Harris in this film. His performance as Major Koenig is really, really something else and worth seeing. Directed by Jean-Jacques Arnaud, who has directed a few different things. Maybe not much that a lot of people have seen. Like 7 Years in Tibet is something that is kind of popped up. And the film that I find really interesting is In the Name of the Rose, the weird kind of
I haven't seen that.
crime thriller set in a monastery in like the Dark Ages with Sean Connery and Christian Slater, I believe. Yeah. Which is a really, really bizarre film, but really quite great. And The Bear is another one of his that I always found was a really interesting premise. It's basically just following a bear for a while and making a narrative out of a bear.
Yeah, I remember the poster for The Bear. For some
it's
reason.
got the theme is really memorable as well.
Oh, cool.
Nice.
But
yeah, so check it out, Enemy at the Gates. If you like your war films, it's one that kind of slipped under the radar for a lot of people, I think, and it ranks as a pretty solid war film.
Nice.
Get on it, Netflix.
Get on it, Netflix. All right.
What do you got, Nick?
Mine is a bit of a classic, but this is just for people who don't know that this is on Stan. I have a Stan one this week.
Oh, great.
And for those who don't know that this is on Stan, or if you haven't seen this, you have no reason not to see this. I don't know whether we've picked this already, but it is the 1986 best time for movies, Stand By Me.
Stand By Me.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Not quite the best year in cinema, 86.
But it's still, it's up there.
I'll still vote for 87 on that day, bro. Something else popped up the other day that was made in 87. I was like, holy shit, man. 87.
Yeah. Jesus.
Anyway.
But yeah, director Rob Reiner, who is one of the best directors out there.
Stephen King's
of course, a Stephen King novel, The Body.
In the papers at the moment for Dark Tower, which hasn't been received particularly well,
really?
unfortunately. I think I'm going to hopefully try and see it regardless, because I do love Stephen King.
Steve.
But yeah, so it's a hot property at the moment. Everyone's kind of ranking the Stephen Kings, and Stand By Me is always up there as top 5.
The stars you got Will Wheaton, River Phoenix in a beautiful role, and Corey Feldman before he went drugs up.
Yeah, indeed.
And
what's his name? Jerry O'Connell.
Jerry O'Connell. Oh, and one of the first movies I saw Kiefer Sutherland in, which his role is just
he's
so
super
good.
effective in this film.
So good. I got obsessed with this movie for a while when I was a kid.
Well, because it's a really great movie.
It's such a great.
I have vivid memories, even though I don't watch this movie very much. The leeches scene is drilled into my memory from being a kid. Yeah, because the idea of it, because one of them is on his dick, isn't it?
On his balls, yeah. And that's
the idea of that has forever haunted me.
You
and
will
I'm like,
never go into a body of water because of leeches.
Because
fuck,
I'm not interested in
totally fair deal. And up there, which I know this will rank somewhere up there with one of the greatest soundtracks.
Oh yeah, it's one of those ones that perfectly captures an era of time with its soundtrack. And well, I mean, everything about it is so representative of that time, but the soundtrack is really well chosen. I think
it's such a beautiful movie, and I feel this could be watched. It's sort of a all-round family film. Like, you could watch this at any age. It doesn't really matter.
I agree.
It's just a beautiful.
It's the perfect example of the coming of age film that I think is universal. I really think like teenagers that even now. And that's it. It's always that everyone has that summer. That summer that defines them. That really changes the way they look at the world. And this is a great movie.
I think I had that summer at uni.
That's fair. Mine was always.
I don't think I had it in high school.
The summer of 98-99 was always referred to as the summer of fun by
98-99?
Yeah, so that was going from year 10 to year 11.
Wow.
It was the summer of fun, 98-99.
Okay.
Changed a lot of my life on that summer.
Oh, nice. I like it.
Good times.
Okay. I think my summer was the summer of 2001.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah. 2000 to 2001.
Hey man, they were all pretty good summers around that time, to be honest.
They really were. They were so good.
Well, that's going to wrap us up for today, folks.
That's it, ladies and gentlemen. You know where to find us.
You do know where to find us. Hey, next week, Nicholas, we're going to be tackling our first Spielberg.
Controversial.
That is a big task ahead of us.
It is.
And, what film could possibly sum up that we would want to talk about? The great living directors, Steven Spielberg.
And what has Tyson picked for us?
Well, we're going to be talking about 2005's War of the Worlds.
Fuck me.
Maybe one of his most divisive films, I think. And that's kind of good. I think that's why we want to talk about it.
Yeah, this is going to bring up some things.
I think, spoiler alert, there might be differing opinions.
It could be just as good as our Dirty Dancing.
It could be. But so I'm really excited to talk about that. So tune in next week when we talk about Tom Cruise and Dakota Fanning.
Absolutely.
Fanning all over the place.
And a bizarre picture by Tim Robbins.
Yeah, Tim Robbins. God, he's weird in that movie. But until then, yes, send us an email if you wanted to have a chat about anything. If
we do have a mailbag, but we'll get to that next week.
Yeah, next week there's going to be some mailbags. And if you want to be included in that, why don't you just send us something? Send us a question. Send us anything you like, and we'll talk about it in a mailbag.
Nick Tys and Videotape at gmail.com.
That is the one. Get on the Facebook page and have a chat with. We'd love to hear from you.
Absolutely.
Tweet at us. Do all that.
Do everything.
Nonsense.
Yeah, bring it on.
Until then,
gang.
we'll see you next week, Nick.
Ciao.
Bye.
Bye, Tys. Bye.